Hello and welcome to the Park Life Podcast. My name is Mike. I'm a travel agent that specializes in all things Disney, Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Alani, and Disney Cruise. Today is episode 42 of the Park Life Podcast. We're going to look at 2026 for Walt Disney World in Orlando, specifically talking about the first 10 months of the year because that's what's been released for booking at this point, and we're going to talk about which weeks have the lowest ticket prices. And then we're also going to talk about events happening in 2026 through those first 10 months. This is all setting the stage for you to start planning your 2026 travels. And if you'd like, working with me on booking those travels. So let's start with January of 2026. The stretch of time that has the least amount of price for tickets, if you were just buying tickets to the parks, January 11th through January 17th of 2026. Now, in the month of January, there are a lot of activities happening. Obviously, you're wrapping up the Christmas and New Year stretch at the very beginning of the month. January 7th through the 11th is the first Run Disney experience of 2026. So that weekend stretch, it'll be pretty crowded. January 16th through the 18th, the following weekend, is a cheer and or dance competition event, which draws in thousands of people. And then at the end of the month, January 30th through February 1st is another cheer or dance weekend at Disney World. If you head into February, ticket prices, the cheapest are February 1st through February 7th. Events happening in February include cheer or dance February 6th through the 8th. And then Disney Run happens February 26th through March 2nd. So you can kind of see, like in February, that cheapest ticket price week, it's wrapping up as the Run Disney weekend is happening. So they've kind of fallen between things like that. If we head to March, March 1st through the 7th is the cheapest for ticket prices for Disney in March of 2026. Disney flags March 7th through March 27th as the heart of their spring break, so keep that in mind. Also in March, March 14th and 15th is a cheer or dance weekend. And then at the end of the month, March 28th through the 31st, is the lead up to Easter weekend. So call that kind of early Easter, if you will. When we get into April, April 12th through the 18th is the cheapest ticket price week of the month of April in 2026. Easter falls on April 5th. So from that March 28th through probably April 5th, you can expect a little more crowds. There's a Run Disney event April 16th through the 19th, which will draw crowds for that weekend. And then the last two weekends of the month, April 24th through the 27th, and April 30th into May on May 3rd, those are both cheer or dance weekends. Roll into May. I'll start here by saying we've kind of left behind the cheer and dance season, so you won't see much in way of that. May 3rd through the 9th is the cheapest ticket price for the month of May in 2026 currently. Really, in May, you're just looking at Mother's Day weekend, which is certainly always important, but then Memorial Day weekend, the last Monday of the month of May, will draw crowds. June, we hit summer vacation, so obviously crowds will be there. June 14th through the 20th is right now the cheapest ticket price week in 2026 for the month of June. We roll into July. Obviously, you hit the 4th of July. That stretch will be very busy at Disney. July 26th through the 31st are the cheapest ticket dates in the month of July next year. Roll into August. We're wrapping up summer vacation. Kids start to head back to school by mid-August. So August 16th through the 22nd is the cheapest week for tickets in the month of August of 2026. That's when you really start to see the crowd levels go down because kids are heading back to school or getting ready to head back to school. And so not only the ticket prices go down, but the crowd levels go down as well. If you can manage the heat and humidity, it's not a bad time to go down to Disney World. Roll into September, you've got Labor Day weekend. September 7th is Labor Day in 2026, so that weekend will be a busy one. And now you kind of roll completely out of summer at this point in time. The cheapest tickets in the month of September are September 13th through the 19th. And then finally, from a ticket perspective in 2026, October 25th through the 30th is the cheapest park ticket prices at Disney World in October of 2026. In October, Disney flags October 10th through the 25th as the peak of their fall break for schools. There's a Run Disney event October 22nd through the 25th. When that ends, that's when the cheaper ticket prices kick in for those last few days of the month. And then, of course, you have Halloween that falls on October 31st. Park's pretty busy then, and there's typically a Halloween party that night. So you can see there's plenty of opportunity throughout the first 10 months of 2026 to enjoy lower ticket prices compared to other weeks. You just want to manage around the crowds. Disney sets ticket prices based on their historical data that they do analysis on to determine when the lowest park crowd levels are. They try to entice people to come. That's why you have lower ticket prices. So, as of right now, you can kind of trend as to when the lower crowds would be in each of the months, January through October. Not to be outdone, we roll into 2026 and Epcot will come back with their festival series. Dates for festivals in 2026 for Epcot have not been released yet. Those won't come out until later in 2025 and then into 2026 for each of the subsequent festivals. But based on historical data, you can plan on the Festival of the Arts starting up around mid January after that Christmas, New Year's break of crowds kind of releases and relaxes, probably right around or shortly after Martin Luther King Day. That will run mid January through about the end of February. The Flower and Garden Festival is up next at Epcot. That typically runs early March into early June. Then there's basically a midsummer break from festivals at Epcot. But the Food and Wine Festival, the third of the series, will start typically mid August, and that will run into mid November. That is the longest of the festivals that take place at Disney World at Epcot. And then lastly, the Festival of the Holidays. That historically always starts the day after Thanksgiving. So, depending upon when Thanksgiving falls, that could be around mid to late or mid late to late November. And then that will run typically through December 30th. It ends prior to New Year's Eve and the New Year's Eve festivities that they have. At Magic Kingdom, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party will fire up again, likely in early August. We saw in 2025 a shift towards an earlier start around August 8th or 9th. So I would anticipate the same thing in 2026, and that will run on select nights through the end of October, likely wrapping up on Halloween. I say likely because I do recall a couple years back, I think the last Halloween party was November 1st or November 2nd. And then Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party will start usually around the second week of November, and it typically wraps up 2 or 3 days before Christmas. And again, that's on select nights as well at the Magic Kingdom. Certainly no word on Jollywood at this point in time, but it was successful in 2024. It's expected to ramp up in 2025, so I don't see any reason why we wouldn't see the Jollywood event at Hollywood Studios to happen again in 2026 in November and December. Lots of information there on ticket price windows and the different events. It's really important when you're planning your trip to know what to expect there. I see a lot of times on social media people posting how crowded the parks were at a certain time, and they were shocked to know after they got there that there was a cheer or dance event, or there was the Run Disney event, or sometimes there's a soccer or baseball tournaments happening. So it can really draw a lot of crowds. One of the quote unquote unknown type of, or it's known, I should say, but really a uh, quote unquote labeled second week of November is what is affectionately called Jersey Week at Disney World. Most all schools in New Jersey are closed the second week of November. I think there's some teacher conventions that are going on. And so historically, Disney sees a spike in crowds around that second week in November for folks coming down from the state of New Jersey. So, a lot of things to manage around when you're planning a Disney trip. That's one reason why you want to consider utilizing a travel agent that specializes in Disney. We have a lot of that information at our fingertips to help plan your vacations. I hope this information is helpful. I know this is a shorter podcast than we typically run, but I thought it was important to set the stage for 2026 when it comes to ticket prices, when it comes to events happening. My next podcast is actually going to talk about why summer of 2026 will be an amazing time to go to Disney World. Hopefully, you'll give me a listen there. If you're new here, this is the Park Life Podcast. I drop these podcasts Monday mornings at about 5 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube on the Park Life Podcast channel. We also do a live Park Life Podcast chat on Wednesday nights right here on YouTube at 7:30 Eastern. And then we are also found on Spotify at the Park Life Podcast. So if you're in your car driving the kids to school, headed to work, headed out to run errands, you can always give us a listen. But that wraps up today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, certainly reach out to me. You can get me here on the podcast. You can drop a comment. You can find me on my personal channels on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Mike_Disney Travel. You can also find me on Facebook at Mike's Magical World Vacations. Love to hear from you. Love to hear your thoughts, comments, suggestions on future podcast topics. And absolutely, if you'd love to work with me, I would love to work with you and make a Disney planning stress free and exciting and magical for you and your family. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed episode 42. I'll be back again next week. Until then, I hope you have a great day and an even better tomorrow. And when you wake up tomorrow, know that it's a great day to be alive. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.